This is a wonderful time of year to evaluate our Christian life since the year 2024 is so fresh and new. So what kind of things are most important for me to pledge for this coming year as a believer? Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Thursday. One of the greatest opportunities we have as a believer is being able to reach out to God and speak with Him whenever we wish to. So why isn't this a daily practice for every Christian to experience talking with the God of the universe? You see, Jesus taught His disciples a model prayer to help them get used to praying to God daily. They started out with, "Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be your name." Now, what child, when they have difficulties, would not call upon their father or their mother to help them? Or what child has a need and doesn't go to their parents to see if they can provide it for them? Or what child is in danger, or seemingly in danger anyway, and doesn't cry out to their father or mother to help them? Well, this only seems logical for the average person, except we as Christians sometimes miss that great opportunity. When we are struggling financially, we'll call on the bank or some high-interest loan company to try to bail us out. When we struggle emotionally, we often call upon a so-called counselor. It may not even be a believer. So that person will give us direction or advice and maybe some kind of costly answer to our problems. Do we see God as our Heavenly Father? If we do, then let's call upon Him on a regular basis. Jesus also describes the Father as in heaven, where there you realize He has all the resources that we might need. You know, we used to sing as a child, "He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and the wealth in every mine. He owns the rivers and the rocks and the rills and the sun and the stars that shine." So why in the world would we not call upon Him, knowing that He has all these things for us? There's more than just calling upon Him when we have a need, by the way. The model prayer also says, "Give us this day our daily bread." Now, this was a reference to the Old Testament daily manna that was provided for the Israelites in the wilderness. In other words, we must rely on Him every day to provide for our needs. We're reminded to call upon Him daily to request all that we need for life and sustenance. You remember whenever those Israelites tried to gather more than one day's provision, it just went bad. We recognize that we need God every day. And of course, we're also reminded for our need of daily forgiveness. But don't forget, Jesus said in that prayer, "Father, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors." So this seems to be somewhat conditional on how we treat others. There are so many references to the need of prayer. Paul says to the church at Thessalonica, "Pray without ceasing." We should always be in that state of mind of calling upon God without a break in between. Jesus also spoke that parable in Luke 11 that men ought always to pray and not to faint. We often feel like we're stronger than we really are, and maybe we can depend on ourselves in a crisis. Jesus knew how quickly His disciples crumbled whenever He was arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane back there. So He called out to them, "Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation or trials." It seems the daily practice of prayer not only shows our need of the Heavenly Father to provide for us, it's also an exercise that shows our complete faith in Him. Paul said, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God." Prayer is always greater than worry. So let's make it a daily practice, okay? Let's set a time and a place aside in advance, and let's lean upon the Father. Let's make our requests known every day, showing our faith that God can and will answer our prayers.